Hello once again, and welcome back to a cavalcade of misery, seeing something that really is a multi-dimensional, multi-timeline issue, one that faces the entire world, and a character arc that, yes, in the span of 15 minutes, went from one completely different and anxious personality into the cool, aloof version we see her now. Well, to us it was about 15-20 minutes, but for her, probably many years. Time loops are fun like that. But really, how far is she willing to go to try and rescue Madoka? How many more struggles are ahead? With only a few episodes. It's probably going to hit hard, isn't it? So to find out, grab a drink, sit down, let's begin. That was German just then in the mid on that text. Anyway, the time traveler Homura. Yep. Cube is caught on rather quick. What does each potential re-loop increase her reserves of energy? Someone was behind the scenes, tying it all together, making sure it came to pass. All because of her. So, we just need to keep going, make her completely unbeatable. Before, she was just a regular version, a regular girl. Any other kind of superficial battery. And with her and Madoka being that focal point. So in an attempt to save her, she weaved a bigger fate for her. Does that mean at some point Madoka might actually awaken to these past timelines? If she had a epiphany moment, all those memories come flowing back to her. That would be dangerous. Or precisely what Madoka needs. Not sure yet. There is quite a lot at stake, knowing that the Walpurgisnacht, or whatever it's called, is kind of on the horizon and what that means for humanity. If it can be averted, I'm sure they'll find a way, but is it just a moot point at this point where Madoka is sacrificed to the whims of future, for the whims of the universe? No matter what Homura does, it's inevitable. Also, is there a limit on how many times she can or is willing to revert back to things before? Because having that time travel mechanic in here and knowing if it all goes wrong, just hop back, start again, kind of lightens the effect and danger. So I'm guessing it won't be used again. Oh, wow. Actually just going straight to... Okay. Just... like I asked, what would the cause of death be announced as if one's soul just gets destroyed? But yeah, there was no body as such for Mami, so no funeral to be held. Whereas this... well, even if she did, it would be a little hard to explain. But what could... yeah, they went down together. But for her, for Kyoko, there was no one to look out for, no one to know that she'd disappeared. Livestock. I mean, there are those that, yes, they do. So that analogy there of just, it's just goods for the table. Don't need to feel bad for it. Doesn't quite fit. Just think on a wider view. There have been many stories and things that we've seen where humans have been reduced to a kind of livestock status. But obviously, us being human, kind of a very humanity-centric worldview when it comes to those kind of things. We try and fight up against it. I fear for anyone that actually starts to understand Fukube's worldview. What the hell is going on here? Huh. Does that mean we can have like a Bronze Age magical girl? So, random acts of God, famous figures throughout history, even for historical events, what? They're all the crux of this magical girl phenomenon and the universe? Yeah, you're not exactly... he's not helping his case. Well, you kind of lied by omission and not saying what was going on, so... so all she has to do is use that immense magical power to make a wish far beyond the realms of logic. Yes, our lives are... we are standing on the shoulders of giants. If this is said with actual reason and questioning, like Kyubei's wanting to know, it's like, why do you feel like for them? But I doubt. There we go. Yep. Completely detached, devoid of all kind of emotion there. Mental disorder. Wow. So what would they have been if they actually nurtured those feelings and emotions rather than just cut them out of their society? I mean, that's great conjecture, but are you saying that magical girls were at the epicenter of every bit of human advancement? Didn't expect the... I didn't expect the adult conversation like this over it all. She's shut herself off, won't talk, so yeah. Even if she did, what help would it bring to really kind of press the issue? Well, considering her life and how she takes a lot of it on the chin, yeah, having this helplessness. Usually you can turn to those that you trust with questions and worries, but when it's on a kind of universal scale and so above even human understanding, how the hell is she even meant to ask? Really? Have that painting there? I can never remember what the title of that piece is called. Well, she's not one to turn her away at the door there, so... And now it's definitely going to be a little bit more difficult. I hope you're not suggesting that you'd help out, Madoka. So ordinary people can witness its effects? Oh. Natural disasters. Earthquakes, tornadoes, yeah. So certain areas that suffer a lot of these things, like tsunamis or hurricanes and the like, high magical girl density. So the UK has been left alone, really. I wonder if that's because the aliens believe, yeah, there's nothing of value over here. But there's so much to take in. How is she supposed to just trust everything is going to be okay? And considering, yeah, what we know of this character and how much she has advanced and changed. And the slight break. It's not even a slight, just the complete break of her character. This cool air that she's trying to perfect. And even, considering stress and damage to the soul and whatnot is what causes them to turn to witches, does hers reset each time she goes back to a different time? Or does she actually have to keep hunting down the grief egg things to reset herself? I mean, that's pretty clear cut there. She's not lying to her. But to her, you are everything. The squeal, the squeak, the breaks in the voice. I think the voice actors are doing a really damn good job. How much of herself is left and what is just the mission to save her? Does she even remember, like, her favourite food or movie? Don't do anything to put yourself in danger. Don't let everything that she's worked for be in vain again. See, when even the meteorologists are panicking, it's when you know things are dangerous. And when you have evacuation orders like that, there are definitely going to be some stragglers who refuse. I don't think we're going to get into that kind of story or events, though. A grand sleepover, yes. Also, in an event like this, having those giant glass windows without any boarding, is that a good idea? With so many people gathered in one place. And I know we've kind of been told bits and pieces about what this is, but what is the origin of this Walpurgisnacht circus festival? Got a lace curtain unveiling to this grand event. Things will be different. She's been storing up, I see. I mean, yeah, if she freezes time to the point where there's it's a bunch of mortars and whatnot as well. Is she? Ah, okay. I mean, she's been strategizing this for years after all, so of course she would have a bunch of bits and pieces set up, some C4 just taking down towers. How is she controlling that? How is it in the river? What is the defense budget around here? Jesus Christ. So far, yeah, just an all-out assault. Everything is kind of going to plan. Things that she has put in place has all been used, but the problem being is knowing that the actions and events here, she probably also knew it would fail. I mean, it's probably a non-zero possibility, but because she's made a decision for herself. The moment she does lose hope is a danger for everyone, but also the hope is that Madoka will be okay. So if she thrusts herself into danger, That's the failure she couldn't abide by. Then it would all come crumbling down. But if she believes that there is a way forward, we're good. It is a, was it Crux 22 or whatever the thing is. If she goes to help, she's just harming her. If she does nothing, it's all hopeless anyway. That's not the way to the bathroom, young lady. That's right, she is a civilian right now. Just to think about herself. And yeah, we've had so many people, especially with Sayaka's funeral just a little bit ago, who would be affected by this should something go wrong. This is no normal thunderstorm. At least give her a little bit of, a hint, maybe. If you're going, I'm going with you. As a parent here, going to be quite conflicted, but yeah, I don't think there's many that would just, after hearing these words, allow her to traipse out there. That's a difficult one to answer. That's kind of dangerous. She's on stairs. Imagine if it all failed now just because the mum gave her a little bit too much of a pat on the back. But it being a conglomeration of so many wishes and griefs and magical girls and witches, she has to have a lot more ammo than that. Because she's not believing in the power of friendship. And I do like how Madoka Magica is kind of against all of that kind of tropes and whatnot. What, so she's just gonna let it go now? The failures creeped up one too many times. But if that happens, then yeah, there's no coming back. You don't have to struggle alone. You don't need to go through this hell of a world by herself. I mean, so far nothing's been done, but thank you for all of your hard work. but she knows the cycle is never going to stop. Being told by Kyubey that it's happened since the dawn of time itself. I wonder if Kyubey has made a mistake by telling her this. You know, if Madoka is the epitome of everything, the most powerful magical battery that has ever existed because of the time loop, can she make into effect something that, you know, where this injunction by this unknowable species just never happened? No one else ever has to be drawn in or affected by them? If wishes can go against physics themselves, how grand can it be? Just, you know what? If you actually just told us about the universe and the entropy, let's just wish it didn't happen. Change the very laws of physics themselves on a fundamental basis, a universally fundamental basis. There you go. No one else needs to be a battery. That's a nice bit of art, but kind of hard knowing that most of them there are not going to well, they're already not survived the episodes. One thing I do really quite like about Madoka Magica is that we were introduced to time travel, to time resets, time loops. Start again if things aren't going too well. But unlike every other show, which will kind of reset things and start again, and cool, with 2 episodes left, or 1 episode left, I think it goes to 12. Yeah, there is enough time, but not really enough for a good payoff. So what looks to be happening is that even with time resets and stuff, not everything can fall into place, not everything can work out. Sometimes life is just harsh, and if that is the case, then I have to give Madoka Magica more credit than I already do. Having Madoka, what seems to be like, step up and know that things are dire and she's gonna have to do something drastic. So to defeat some sort of existential danger, the likes of that nobody has ever seen, one that goes throughout history itself. I wonder what Madoka's plan is. Even if she has been labelled as like the most powerful and the most potential-filled magical girl there is. It's really just a matter of time, because I can't keep putting it off. I'm going to have to watch the last episode at some point. If we all had a wish to get what we wanted, would we have it rather insular and self-supporting, or grander than oneself, knowing that you'd have to sacrifice a lot to get there? And that's even without being told about having your soul ripped from your very mortal coil. And in the midst of all of this, I'm glad that there was a little callback to the adults in the situation, her mother and whatnot, worrying about her daughter, about not being able to do anything and whatnot. There's been little glimpses of that before, when she arrived home late and was drunk and kind of regretted that kind of life, but hey ho, must move on kind of thing. I feel that they could have done a bit more, but I do like its injection into the story at this moment. It was quite crucial, getting Madoka to think about things. Don't just throw yourself away for justice or helping those in need. Think about what's more than that. There are people back home that care about you. And even amidst that, it's precisely why none of this will stop. Yeah, Shaft is doing a splendid job once again. Backgrounds and details and environments, animations and whatnot, but Despite it all being so disjointed, it feels so whole. I want to see more, and hopefully you do as well. If I've entertained you at any point along the way, let me know. If you leave a like on the video, it helps out the channel. A comment even more so. But if you want to make sure not to miss out future uploads, consider subscribing or joining onto my Discord for notifications for whenever everything gets uploaded. And for memes and votes and polls and anything else that may come down the line. I don't think I'll be dashing out into high winds, but I will be comfortable sitting down and watching more anime. So, hopefully you can join me for that. Get some rest, so I can see you in the next one. If you too want to protect the world from devastation, you probably wouldn't be watching anime with me. So I need to thank Aegis DR, Darky26, Guado, Kite, Reds Racer, Ultra Pouring, Wolfie Sensei, Zedcat, Zug, and everyone else for caring a lot less about the lifespan of the universe and more about a moron on the internet.